Hi guys, it's Claire's and welcome to another video tutorial with me. If you're new to my channel, I put out regular videos on watercolor and they come out every Thursday, Saturday, and then Sundays we have a Sunday live painting session together. So welcome. Today we are going to be checking out the difference between these two watercolor papers. I am specifically talking about the hot pressed Arches, or the Arches hot pressed, and then the Etchr Lab sketchbook. So I hope you guys are excited and ready to begin. Okay, so for the sake of this video, we are going to be using the following items. I have my two papers right here. We have the Arches and then we have the Etchr. Mind you, one is cold, one is hot, so there is that difference, so please keep this in mind. And for my colors, we're going to be using my favorite St. Petersburg White Nights, raw umber, green, violet, ultramarine, carmine, and golden. And then for brushes, I am keeping handy the Vinci 1, silver black velvet 4, and then the Princeton number 8. I might use them all, I might end up just using 2. We'll just see where the flow takes us. All right, I have some pre-mixed color on here, and since the palette is fairly similar, I figured I could just use some of this as well. And we are ready to begin. So we're gonna keep this very basic, some really nice loose florals, and we'll see the difference in how things transition with the two papers. All right, so the first one up is going to be my Arches, and we're gonna start off by using the number 4, and we're gonna do some very basic florals. So let's give it a go. I'm going to start off by doing some purple florals. We have some of the purple mixed in here already. So I'm just going to take this and start doing a center of a flower right in the center here. And we're just doing quick strokes. And then once this is done, I'm just going to take my mop brush and I'm going to create a couple of lines, strokes, to create some petals. And you can see me doing them very lightly and loosely, and I'm trying to leave as much white space as I can, trying to make the floral look loose but also full at the same time. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of the pink carmine that I have, and I'm just going to add it into the purple that we've laid down. Maybe just in the center here too, just to give us like a nice blend color. Okay, there we go. And then let's continue doing a little bit more of these purple florals, but I'm just going to add a little bit more to the center here. Let's just see how that works out. All right, so we've got that, and you can see how this is kind of blending in. So we're going to do another one over here. The same concept. This has a little bit of pink in this, so I'm just getting some water on my brush, and I am going to create some very loose looking petals right here, and this is kind of facing upward, and again I'm keeping it very loose and not very specific in detail. Now at this point I'm just going to mix in some of that carmine to get some of the darker hued purple, and we'll do something like a rose, and let's create that over here on this end. So as you know, most of my roses are done by doing little comma strokes. So that's what I've done there, and then taking the mop brush, I'm just going to go ahead and blend out the outermost layer that we have. And you can see that the blend is kind of nice, but it's very different from if you were to use a a paper with more texture, which would be like a cold press. So just getting some of that purple to kind of blend it into the outer petals, just to kind of give it the nice cohesive look. If you guys have been watching any of my other videos, you know I kind of like to make things blend in and be cohesive and tie into one another. I'm just trying to make this slightly darker than the other florals, I guess, so that there's some pop. And then now let's get a little bit of the golden. Let's try some of that golden, and let's add some florals that are kind of happening over here. And now you can see this is like a much darker floral that we're doing. And let's just see how this transitions. So I'm just doing, again, I'm just doing these flowers to be very basic, your basic 5-petal florals, very loose, kind of transitioning off into buds almost over here. And then we'll do some more with the carmine happening over here on this end. So I'm trying to make this quick and keep it simple so we can kind of get a nice exercise of painting, but at the same time we are seeing the difference between the two pages or papers that we're using. So I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone here. So this isn't just a straightforward video on how the two are different, but it is also on a little bit of painting. So I hope you guys like this. So now I'm going to get a little bit of the green, and I am going to mix that on my palette right there. And I'm going to get some of the umber as well and mix some of that there. Living on the edge here, I know, with just adding taking water over the painting as opposed to, you know, keeping it on one side. I know. I'm just going to add some hooks onto these little buds here as well, and then kind of add some leaves happening. And I'm keeping my leaves very loose, and as I'm going outward I'm getting more water on my brush so that the leaves are a lot lighter. So the ones that are closest to the florals need to be the darkest. So I'm just adding some darker hues to these ends here, highlighting the stems or branches. Let's get some happening over here on this end. And then as I'm going outward, I'm just going to get more water on my brush and keep it a lot looser, just like that. More water on the brush to kind of extend this all the way down and have it tapering off. There we go. Liking how that is looking. I'm just going to add some over here as well. Notice that I'm keeping my strokes very loose and open-ended, not kind of closing up, not stressing about filling all the spots with color, leaving some white space as well, so it's like a nice airy, floaty looking piece. And I think we're almost kind of done, so you guys kind of get an idea of how this looks here, right? And you can see that it is just getting some umber so that we get some leaves that are slightly different from these other ones we've done. And I'm just doing longer leaves this way, give it some nice change in shape. Add one over here. And then perhaps just one happening kind of there. I'll just add a little bit more leaves over here. But yes, this is the idea for our little test. So we've kind of done two things as opposed to just one. So this is what our arches looks like. Now let's move on to the other one and see how Etchr does. Okay, so this is the sheet of Etchr paper, and we're going to start off by doing pretty much the same thing. So I'm going to start off by doing the Carmen this time, and we're going to start off right here. So there we go, and I kind of like how the grooves in the paper hold everything in, and hold everything in the sense like the color, and I just like it a lot better compared to the other paper. I feel like there's more detail in the as the color settles, there's a little more detail as opposed to just it pooling and getting very non-organic in shape, I guess. There's a little more detail, so I kind of like that aspect. Whoops. So I'm just going to move my water here so I do not hit the camera again. We're going to go ahead and create some happening over here. And again, same deal. Going in, getting some water, adding it to our little petals here, or the center of the florals here, and I'm leaving a lot of white space. And I'm loving how, I love how the flare happens in the center for this paper compared to the arches. And I don't know, I think it just works really well for the florals, and this is why I prefer, I prefer this as opposed to what we've done previously. Let's kind of go ahead and do some more. I'll do some of the blue this time, why not? Mix it in with some of that purple, add some right here, and we'll do this happening kind of upward there. And adding our petals. So I'm just continuing to add a darker center by adding some of the leftover color that we have, and you can just see the difference. Like, it's just here, you can see the difference, but I'll show you in the end once we have finished painting it, but I can just see it evolving right now as we speak, as we are going on. And I'm just going to add some leaves at this point, and I'm going to keep them very filled with white space and thin linear lines. Add some darker hues of green to the center, or to the stems rather. Just like that, and then we're going to continue and add some more petals over here off to the side. And I'm kind of trying to keep this like one of those loose quick drawings or paintings that you would have for a practice session almost. So hope you guys don't mind the lack of detail. Just adding a little bit of color to or variation in green to certain areas of the leaves that we've laid down. Then I'm going to just add some of the golden that we have. And I want to add some like almost like berries. On either ends, I guess you could say. And keeping it very loose and light. And washing off all the color, I'm just going to add some more shapes of berries off around this area, and this kind of sucks the color or draws from the color that we've laid down into the other areas. Now I'm going to take some of that pink and just add it into the berries that we've done. And again, like these are great ways to kind of experiment not only with color but with the paper and the water consistencies to kind of see what you're getting. And so you can see how the color is blending in. This was like a lot of green, but that's okay. I kind of like the green pop of green that is happening here. And I'm just getting my color directly from my palette, my color palette for raw umber. And I love that, like you can see a nice contrast of darks and lights. I'm going to get some of the pre-mixed color, mixing some of the purple, and I'm just going to add a couple of dots to enhance the centers of these. Getting some of the blue for this one. It's just a mishmash of all the colors we've been using so far. And trying to leave some dots here and there. I'm going to get some of that pink as well for the pink one we have. Because you can see, if you want any kind of pop of color, you always kind of need to go in and add some layering at the end of it all. Because watercolor always dries up to be a lot lighter, right? Yeah, so anyways, this is how this one ends up looking, and I really like the texture. You know what? I think for me it's all about the texture, and I'm loving the texture in it. And just to put them both side by side, I'm going to show you, this is what the Arches hot press is like, and this is the cold pressed version of it. And so, like I mentioned, the difference is the grooves in it, but I believe I've used Arches cold press as well, and I wasn't very impressed with it. And I think I have a painting over here that I can kind of show you guys. So here's what that looks like with the Arches. And I just like the grooves better that you see in Etchr. Like, I think it's overdone in the Arches here. There's just a bit too much. In Etchr, I think it's just perfect. And I even like the color of the paper. So it's a little extra yellowy for Arches, and Etchr is a lot whiter, which I like. So this is my video on the two, and also a mini tutorial or mini practice session on painting loose florals. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to this, seeing this for the first time. I would appreciate the support, and please do tag me in your social media if you end up posting stuff. I would love to see what you come up with, and I would love to share it in my stories as well. So thanks so much guys for watching, and we will chat soon. Bye!